Right friends, welcome to News Analysis and Features. Normally in this module, we are discussing issues with in-depth analysis, and for this week, 27th week from 29th June to 5th July, I have taken up 3 issues. First is Digital India, how fast we realize the dream, what are the challenges, how to overcome the challenges, and how it will benefit the society as well as the country. Second is the AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. This is another multilateral financial institution. Does it go in the way of World Bank or Asian Development Bank? That is the question which we are going to find answers in this analysis part. Third one is India is a $2 trillion economy as announced by the World Bank in its recent report on July 1st. Right friends, look into the first issue, Digital India. How fast we realize this dream? What is Digital India? We have discussed certain things in the lecture part, basically connecting the citizens, government services at the doorstep of citizens, that is one aspect. Other aspect is digital literacy. All the services as required by the people should be available in a digital form or electronic form. And finally, to bridge the urban-rural divide, and several programs are enunciated in this. One is e-hospital. All the records should be available online for the patients. Second is e-education. That means education should be available online. Third one is e-locker, you can store your documents. E-sign, you can produce the documents electronically, you need not carry the Xerox copies. You can produce documents electronically. Like this, several services are going to be given across the country, broadband connectivity to the villages. At the same time, universal mobile access across the country, and government has given 9 pillars. Please look into the PPT right side. Government listed out the main things which are to be executed under Digital India. One is the broadband highway, universal access to mobile connectivity, public internet access, e-governance, e-kranti, like that schemes are devised. Government has published a brochure indicating what is to be done under these 9 programs. This is one side of the story. Let us look at the ground realities and challenges in this program. First and the foremost is, rural teledensity is at present 48, whereas urban teledensity is 149. There is a huge gap. Rural teledensity, that means telephones, whether it is landline or mobile, whatever it is, in rural India it is 48 per 100 people, and in urban India it is 149 per 100 people. There is a huge gap. Rural and urban telephones are 3 times the rural teledensity. That is first interesting point, and how to bridge the gap. Second important aspect is, now spectrum per million customers is one of the lowest in the world. That issue is to be solved by the government. Third thing is e-literacy in rural areas. As per the recent socio-economic and caste survey, 4.21 crores or 24% of the people in rural India, 24% of the families in rural India above the age of 25 years, no one is literate. All the family members above 25 years of age in 24% of rural India are illiterate. How to solve this problem? How to make them digitally literate? Fourth important point is, there is less interest shown by private telecom operators in rural areas. In rural areas, private telecom operators are not interested to expand their services. Another interesting thing is, cell towers are stagnating. People are not investing in cell towers, and they are stagnating at around 5 lakhs for the past 1.5 years, just addition of 16,000 during the past 18 months. Then National Optical Fiber Network, NOFN, the much publicized project of the previous government, not much headway. 2.5 lakh villages are to be connected through broadband connectivity. That is not going on the expected pace. Another thing is affordability of smartphones. They have reduced substantially in recent times, but that is to be reduced further so as to make them accessible to each and every citizen of this country, especially rural India. Look at the last problem. Some government departments are objecting to the digitalization. Because of the reason, due to digitalization, what will happen? Transparency will increase, and due to which corruption may be reduced. Some government departments are not interested in this to happen. Right? So these are the ground realities and challenges of implementing Digital India. Now let us look at how to overcome these difficulties. First and the foremost is National Optical Fiber Network Program, or NOFN program. Recently it was renamed as BharatNet, and the expenditure contemplated is more than 70,000 crores of rupees. It should be executed on mission mode with the cooperation of state governments. NOFN project is to be executed on mission mode with the help of state governments. Second thing is availability of a spectrum is to be looked into. Third thing is private telecom operators should take proactive steps for expanding their services in rural areas. Government should devise some methodology like incentivizing private telecom operators for expanding their services. E-literacy among the adult citizens in rural India is to be improved. Now, the program of Internet Sathi taken up by Tata Trust as well as Google is one example, and there is a need for organizations to come forward to literate. Basically, e-literacy is to be improved among the rural masses. Other important aspect is smartphone cost should further come down, and resistance from government departments should be eliminated. That's very important aspect. We have already discussed there is a lot of resistance from government departments. Other one is public-private partnership model is to be devised, and it should be practicable, and state governments should cooperate and coordinate for framing public-private partnerships even at state governments level, because without the cooperation of state governments, this project cannot be taken up only by central government. Other important aspect is legislative changes. If everything comes online, then security is important aspect. Legislative framework is to be devised. Our parliamentarians, our assembly members should sit together to legalize certain things, to formulate certain strategies or legislative changes. If everything comes online, then the mindset of the people is to be changed for utilization of digital services. So these are the challenges which have to be overcome by the government. And what is the advantage? How it will benefit? You can look into it from two perspectives. One is a business opportunity for IT industry. Second is socio-economic transformation. If you look at the business opportunity for IT industry, more requirement of ICT devices. ICT means information and communication technology. Then demand for more mobile applications, demand for enterprise software, demand for security services and data analytics. And Internet of Things is going to be another area, because all the devices will be interconnected. That is Internet of Things, and this will strengthen Make in India program, and lot of business opportunities will be created in education as well as health sector. So there will be good business opportunities in IT industry, or IT industry will have many opportunities if Digital India takes place on the expected lines. Second thing is socio-economic transformation, bridging the gap between rural urban as well as haves and have-nots, because the best way to bridge the gap between rural urban as well as haves and have-nots is increasing the penetration of digital services in health, in education and whatnot. And second thing is digital literacy will increase. Ultimately, it will have its cascading effect on the economy, especially in rural India. Third thing is government will be at the doorstep of the people, because of which people will feel that they are in the mainstream and they are the partners in progress along with government. Next is revolutionary changes in access to education and health will come up. then economic empowerment of the nation will take place, and ultimately it will stem the leakages and it will reduce corruption because of increase in transparency. So you have to see the benefits in two perspectives. One is business opportunity for IT industry, and the second one is socio-economic transformation. So if everything goes well, within next 3-4 years, these transformations, especially socio-economic transformation, bound to take place in the country. It is a welcome move, but government has to overcome these challenges we have already discussed now. Look into the next issue. AIIB, another multilateral financial institution. Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, it is another international financial institution. You can say another multilateral financial institution. Why do you call it multilateral financial institution? Because its shareholders are several governments. When governments are owning it, that is called a multilateral, and it is into finance, development finance. That's why it is financial institution. We have several international financial institutions, but prominent among them are World Bank as well as Asian Development Bank. Before going into AIIB, let us look at World Bank as well as Asian Development Bank. Let us look at World Bank first. World Bank means it has got two organs. One is IBRD, second one is IDA. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development as well as IDA. Right? This IBRD was founded in July 1944. The origin of this is Second World War. After the Second World War, several European countries were battered, and this IBRD was found basically with a view to ensure reconstruction of Europe. Initially, the main purpose was reconstruction of Europe, and subsequently its activities are expanded for other countries. At present, it has 188 countries as members. Headquarters is Washington DC, and the other organization is IDA. IDA is International Development Association. This organization was formed in 1960 with an intention to help poorest of the poor countries, because poorest of the poor countries may not afford market interest rates. That's why to give soft loans, to give loans at less than market rates as well as grants, this organization IDA was established. IDA was established in 1960, and at present there are 173 members, right, with IDA. This is about World Bank. Look at Asian Development Bank. Headquarters is Manila, Philippines, established in 1966, and here the maximum shareholding is Japan and USA. Japan and USA has got a shareholding of around 30% in Asian Development Bank, and traditionally Japanese heads this bank. I have forgotten to tell you, World Bank is normally headed by American, and Asian Development Bank is headed by a Japanese citizen. And the basic purpose of these two institutions is to give development finance. World Bank looks at entire world. Asian Development Bank looks at Asia and Pacific regions. At present, 67 countries are members of this, and just like IDA, we have discussed, World Bank has got two organs. One is IBRD as well as the second one is IDA. IDA looks at poorest of the poor. Similarly, in Asian Development Bank, there is Asian Development Fund. There is Asian Development Fund which gives grants or soft loans to the poorest of the poor countries. Right? So, World Bank, ADB, these are multilateral financial institutions or development finance institutions or international financial institutions. And what are the advantages and disadvantages of having these institutions for several years? Let us look at the positive points. They are giving development finance, they are financing poorest of the poor countries at a soft interest, that means at lesser than market interest rates. Reduction in poverty levels is their goal, improves governance standards in countries. Accountability will also increase, because whenever World Bank or Asian Development Bank is giving loan, they will advise the countries to improve governance, to improve accountability standards. So therefore, the positive aspect of getting the loan from World Bank and Asian Development Bank is, first thing is, it will be used for developing infrastructure in poor countries. The second thing is poverty will be reduced. Third thing is governance will be improved. Fourth one is accountability will be increased. But what are the negative points? Why world sometimes fears about these multilateral financial institutions? The biggest point is whenever they are giving loans, they ask for some reforms. Whenever World Bank or Asian Development Bank is giving loan, they ask for certain reforms, structural reforms what they call, like reducing subsidies, increasing taxes. These are called structural reforms. Whenever World Bank or ADB is giving loan, they look at these two things. But what will happen? Poor persons of these countries, the persons whoever are below poverty line will be affected, and that is the main drawback of taking a loan from World Bank or ADB. Because of the structural reforms undertaken in these countries, like reducing subsidies, increasing taxes, poor will be affected. That is the biggest drawback. Second thing is, when World Bank or ADB gives loans, they immediately tell about impose usage charges, impose utility charges. If World Bank is financing some water supply project in a city like Delhi, then user charges will be increased. Because of increase in user charges, poor persons will be affected. This is another drawback. Third important drawback is their policies sometimes benefit multinational organizations of developed economies to expand their business opportunities, to expand business opportunities of capitalists or multinational organizations. Sometimes the policies of World Bank or ADB will be used. That is another drawback of this, right? And finally, developing economies have got no say or very little say in the affairs of World Bank or Asian Development Bank, because World Bank is dominated by United States of America, Asian Development Bank is dominated by Japan. That's the main problem. And now AIIB is born. 57 countries agreed to become the founding members. 50 countries signed the Articles of Agreement recently. Out of these 50 countries, some Western powers are also there, which is not palatable to United States of America. Australia is the first country to sign Articles of Agreement. And here $100 billion will be the initial capital for this. China will be contributing more, and naturally its say will be more. But what are the dangers lurking at the developing countries? Let us look at these 3 points. First is, China is ambitious with their Belt and Road project. China is planning to expand roads as well as expand ports to promote their trade. It is investing in several continents, building roads, constructing ports, planning to build railway lines. That means China is aggressive in reviving the Silk Road project as well as the Maritime Silk Road project. These two projects are basically to have seamless trade connecting China with other continents. And as China is ambitious to promote their business interests, one should be cautious about its business interests because of its Silk Road project as well as Maritime project. This is one aspect. Second aspect is, China is already suffering from industrial overcapacity. It is suffering from industrial overcapacity. Its capacity is more than the requirement. If you look at the steel industry, China is producing more than what it requires. They want to dump in other countries. So there is every possibility, because of its industrial overcapacity, they may dump their projects in other countries, and in one way or the other, they will try to expand their business interests. The third point is, several developing countries are in need of infrastructure and funds in energy sectors. China may try to grab the business opportunities in infrastructure as well as energy sectors in several developing countries. 3 points. The first and the foremost is, because of their ambitious Silk Road project, it may push their investments ambitiously for their self-interest. The second point is it has got industrial overcapacity. That's why it may try to dump its products in the developing countries. Third important point is they may capture various business opportunities in infrastructure and energy sectors in various developing countries. And in this process, if they impose some restrictions on the developing countries, again it may affect the poor, just like what had happened in case of World Bank and Asian Development Bank. So let us see, only time can say whether the new institution, Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank, will cater to the vested interests of Chinese businessmen, or it will work like a straightforward institution benefiting all the nations. Only time can say, and the foresight of China and the coordination with their partners should be the highest if they want to run the institution to the utmost ethical standards. Right, friends? Look into the last issue. Now India is a $2 trillion economy. Officially, now World Bank in its report during the first week of July confirmed India crossed $2 trillion. India's economy is now $2 trillion, $2.07 trillion economy, and our gross national income per person, that means per capita gross national income. You may ask, what is gross national income? The income generated by the citizens within the country, the income generated by the citizens or by the nationals within the country, plus the income generated by its citizens abroad, that is gross national income. Gross national income is the income generated by its nationals within the country plus the income generated by its citizens abroad, that is gross national income. If you want per capita gross national income, it is nothing but gross national income divided by population. Our population is more, that's why our gross national income per capita is normally less. Our gross national income per capita as listed by World Bank is $1,610. That is close to 1 lakh rupees. The size of Chinese economy is around $10 trillion. It is 5 times that of India's. Let us look at these figures. As per the World Bank report, on nominal GDP and on PPP basis. You may ask, what is nominal GDP? What is PPP? Nominal GDP is based on the value of your currencies. The GDP is listed out here. USA is number 1 with $17.42 trillion. Number 2 is China with 10.36, and India's position is 9th. India is at the 9th position with $2.07 trillion. And if you look at purchasing power parity, what is the difference between nominal and purchasing power parity? Now let us assume $1 is 60 rupees. On nominal basis, $1 is 60 rupees, right? And let us look at purchasing power. Purchasing power. I want to have a cup of coffee. I want to have a cup of coffee. If I take cup of coffee in Delhi, I may be required to pay rupees 20. I may get good cup of coffee in Delhi for rupees 20. The same thing if I want to have in New York City, I may be required to pay $1. New York City, I am paying $1 for a cup of coffee, and in Delhi, I am paying just rupees 20. So, on purchasing parity terms, here $1 is 20 rupees. Because I am getting 1 cup of coffee here for 20 rupees, there for $1. So, $1 is equals to 20 rupees as far as purchasing power parity is concerned. So, if you look at the GDP under purchasing power parity terms, now China is number 1 with $18 trillion, followed by USA with 17, and India is in 3rd position with $7 trillion. Right? This is as per the report of the World Bank, and World Bank bifurcates into 4 categories. Various countries are bifurcated into 4 categories. One is the low income group, where the per capita GNI, per capita gross national income is $1,045 or below is low income group. In low income group, Afghanistan, Somalia, Haiti, Liberia, these countries fall into this category. India falls into lower middle income group. Lower middle income group is $1,046 to $4,125, that is per capita GNI. India along with Bangladesh, Myanmar, Kenya fall into this category. Ours is 1610, and if you look at income group, it is from $4,126 to $12,735, and China falls into this category with Malaysia, Thailand, Mexico, because some countries have less number of population. If the population is less, they may go to upper middle income or high income group, but our population is around 127 crores, because of which we are in the lower middle income group. And finally, high income group is per capita GNI of $12,736 and above. Of course, United States of America, UK, Germany, Norway, these countries fall into this category. So, World Bank categorizes countries into 4 groups, and while granting loans to various countries, this World Bank takes into consideration these income levels. Right? Now we are in lower middle income group with $1,610 per capita GNI, and when do we become upper middle income? Upper middle income is at least you should have $4,126 per capita GNI, and with the present growth rates of 8 to 10%, I think by the year 2026 or 2028, we may reach upper middle income category, and by that time China will be in the category of high income group. Right friends, with this let us conclude this week's news analysis and features, and next week we are going to discuss India abstained from United Nations Human Rights Council vote. Is it a tilt towards Israel? Second thing is the reality of rural India. Around 90% of the population are earning below rupees 10,000. The highest earning member in rural India, in 92% of the households is earning below rupees 10,000. An eye opener for the governments. What do you understand by one web? These, some more if time permits, we are going to discuss next week. Have a nice day, and please do join for questions and answers sessions, general as well as banking. Have a nice day. Thank you.